local hope dealer.
Inspiration and dedication. I came a long way from sleeping in them cages. I got my life back, I feel amazing. Life's a book, don't get stuck on sad pages. Rainy days with no money. Hard work leads to days that are sunny. Looking back, it was all needed. The problems, the pain, the trauma, the grieving. You are now tuned in to the prisoner to painter. Prisoner to painter. Hard work, dedication. Rainy days, inspiration. Prisoner to painter.
And now, a word from your local hope dealer.
It's on TV.
Oh, right on. Well, man, I don't want to you know what? We probably got you about 30 minutes. I'm guessing 30 minutes to an hour.
15 minutes, actually, and this thing's going to shut off.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, then there's just a couple of things that I wanted to ask. Everybody knows you for, clearly the Tiger King and et cetera, but here at the Prisoner to Painter, we try to hear stories of inspiration from childhood to where you are now. We did a little research, man, and I'm more curious. Clearly I seen what you have going on, but dude, the research we did, it said you used to be the chief of police. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I looked 12 years old when I was 19.
Okay.
And when I applied for the job, the city council wouldn't hire me because I looked so young. They didn't think that I could defend myself on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I made him a deal. I said, look, you sponsor me so I can go to the academy, and you let me work for 6 months. I'll work for free for 6 months. And I did, and I graduated the police academy as the police chief.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Dude, that's all. Well, so our stick is stories of inspiration. So, we keep our opinions out of it. We don't go one way or the other. I know that the system's flawed, so that's the only opinion that I'm going to put out there about how I feel about your case. But my other curiosity is it said that you lost a brother, but you guys owned a pet store together?
Yeah. We owned in 1986, we bought this little pet store that was 1,500 square feet in Arlington, Texas.
Awesome.
And then probably a year and a half down the road, we got the space next to it, and we knocked out a middle wall and we doubled it. So we had a little over 3,000 square feet. And then, about 1992, we took over an old wolf nursery store and ended up with 40,000 square feet.
Oh, shit.
And we had the only full lawn, garden, pet store, grooming shop in the country. And then we groomed close to 110, 115 dogs a day.
Wow.
But then in 1997, he got killed in a car accident.
Oh,
and I sold the pet store and combined that money with mom and dad's money that they got from the lawsuit. And we bought the property in Oklahoma, moved to Oklahoma to take care of my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And we built that little sanctuary in memory of him. And lo and behold, it turned out to be the largest privately owned zoo in America.
Well, man, you took America by storm. I mean, in a lot of different ways, but people know your name, and people are interested in what you got going on. And, it says you're not going to be released until 2036, but I see that you're trying to get out quicker. Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Well, with all the new laws that have changed, the First Step Act, the Second Chance Act, my good time, all that, my update is actually October 2030.
Oh, perfect.
And that's without some new laws coming. And see, I haven't even applied for my 0-point reduction because I've never had a criminal history.
Yeah.
So that should take 2 to 4 years off of that. So, but I'm going to win my appeal. I've been on an appeal for a year and 3 months now, waiting for the court to decide about this new trial.
Okay.
Because we have all the new evidence, where they admitted to perjury and everything else. So I'll be out this year, whether it's by appeal or whether it's by President Trump pardoning me. And, I've got some pretty big people out there pushing for a pardon. Joe Rogan,
Yep.
Dana White,
Yep.
Andrew Tate. I got some pretty big voices out there.
Yeah, man, those are some huge voices. Katie, go ahead.
So hello, Mr. Exotic. My name is Katie. I am the co-host with my husband Nathan on Prison Entertainer. So I was curious, we were doing some research. It says that your views on like animals in captivity have changed. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, after everything that happened to me and everything else, and I took real good care of my animals. Okay, I spent every dime we ever got, we put back in that zoo to make sure our animals were taken care of.
Yeah.
I lived in a 60-year-old wooden house with the walls falling apart. Okay, I didn't live in a $900,000 house like Trail Basket does.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I've learned, and probably what changed my mind the most was, my chimpanzees were like my favorite animal of all. And even though everybody called me the Tiger King, and I had 200 tigers, my apes were my favorite because I would eat breakfast with them and eat dinner with them, and when we learned how to dance and all kinds of stuff. But what really changed my mind was, as good a care as I took of them, okay, when shit was going wrong at the zoo with Jeff and James, and I, and Travis died, and I wanted to quit, I started moving my animals out. And I actually called PETA myself, and PETA helped me relocate a lot of my animals.
Oh, that's really nice.
And when I sent my chimps down to Chimp Haven in Florida, where they actually had, islands of their own, and huge complexes of grass and trees, and they could actually be apes, but I had two males that I always kept separate. They had the cage bars in between them, and they could touch each other, but they could never just, I was always scared two males would kill each other because they were strange males. Well, anyway, when I sent them to Florida, about a month later, Patty from Chimp Haven sent me a picture of my two males out in this big, huge grass tree complex hugging. And it was amazing that I didn't have the cages or the ability to let them do that.
Yeah.
So, and then I spent 2 years and 8 months in solitary confinement when I first got arrested because of the publicity and the movie, and it was part of their goal, so I couldn't help find evidence to fight my case and everything else. So after being locked up in solitary confinement, I know now even what a goldfish or a gerbil feels like.
Damn.
So I'm going to advocate for not only for animals, and I'm going to take on the big zoos too, because they're no better,
Oh yeah.
They actually take animals out of the wild.
Yeah.
Where all of mine were born in captivity. Okay, so their animals are even more fucked up in the head than a captive born animal because they got ripped out of the wild. All right, so I'm going to advocate for all cageless zoos. So everything's got to be a drive-through wildlife where everything's free.
Man,
and be an advocate, probably the biggest advocate for prison reform, because what's going on in here is far from it's criminal.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through what like a day in your life in prison is like?
Yeah, and especially for you, because I know you have it a little different than others because of your publicity.
Well, I spent 2 years in solitary confinement at the holdover in Oklahoma City during my trial and my sentencing and all that stuff. And then when I came to federal prison here at the medical center, they kept me in solitary for the first 11 months because they didn't want me on the yard because of the publicity. And everybody thinks that I've got all this money from Tiger King, which I didn't get paid a dime for Tiger King.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody thought I was going to have all this money to be thrown around on the yard and everything else. So they kept me in solitary for the first 11 months here. But, you know, a normal day for me, you know, now that my husband is gone, is pretty boring.
Yeah.
But a normal day for me a month ago was I would get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and take a shower and go to outside rec, because this place has a phenomenal rec yard.
Cool.
And I would spend 6-7 hours a day with my husband at rec, and then I would come back and, you know, I cook my own dinner because the food they serve here is that sad.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to show you again why I can advocate for both things, because I was licensed by the federal government to have a zoo, and now I've been in prison and I see what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a chimpanzee, according to the USDA, must have 400 square feet per chimpanzee, inside and outside. Okay, for a human being, it's only 70 square feet.
Oh, damn.
Okay, and for a chimpanzee, they're supposed to have 10% of their body weight of wholesome, nutritious, fresh food every day. So you take a 150-pound chimp, that's 15 pounds of food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a human being is only 2,000 calories, and they substitute that, as you know, with cake and cookies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of things need to be woke up to the general public of what the hell's going on in there. But my biggest problem with prison is I never saw heroin, fentanyl, K2, or Sabosca until I came to prison.
Yeah.
And all you see on the news is everybody bitching about that border and the drugs coming across that border. And I got news for America and the world. If you can't keep them out of a fenced-in federal prison, forget that border.
Yeah.
So you ran for political office a couple different times. What would you say your political alignment and views would be?
More probably libertarian, but every party has a problem.
Yeah.
You know, the Republicans want to be dictators, and the Democrats are just way out there.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, the libertarians, I'm pretty aligned with the libertarians, except they think that you should be able to own every kind of weapon that the military has, and that's a little absurd.
Yeah.
Because nobody needs hand grenades and bazookas, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I ran for president this last time from prison, I ran as a non-affiliated.
Okay.
Because I just had some strange political views. I think you have a right to have an abortion.
Yeah.
You don't have a right to make that a habit. So if I had my choice after your second abortion, you would be spayed.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're just too lazy to strap one on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everybody has a right to carry a firearm, but not everybody doesn't need an AR.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
A semi-automatic 9mm handgun, you know, or a revolver is more than enough self-defense. The border problem, look, I could solve America's deficit in 2 years just by what's going on at the border, because nobody can come up with the right number, first of all.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have 10 million illegal immigrants in here, or do we have 25? All right, so let's just say we have 15. All right, we have 15 illegal immigrants, and when I ran for president in 2016, I went to Belize, a third world country, to learn how they were operating. Okay, and it cost me $37.50 to get off that airplane because I wasn't a citizen,
Yeah.
and it cost me $50 for every 30 days I was there because I wasn't a citizen. So why don't we because right now they're arresting all of these contractors and home builders and farmers, and they're sending them back. And before long, you're not going to have any houses built, and you're damn sure not going to find any white or black people that are going to go out and pick strawberries.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Exotic.
It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, because we are getting close. I just made sure to keep the track of the time, and I don't want to get cut off before I ask. So, when you get out of prison, Our stick is we invite every guest on. I would love to formally invite you onto the show, but B, our wrap-up questions, and I'm so sorry to cut you off. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success?
Yes, sir.
Doing what you love to do.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how much money you make.
Okay.
And then if you could use one word to describe your entire journey from where you started to where you think you will end up, what would that one word be? It has to be one word.
Where I started and where I'm going to end up?
Yes, sir.
Because I don't know where I'm going to end up.
Right. Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
But from where I started to where I'm going to end up,
Yep.
one word, pathetic.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
No, man, dude. So many people out here look like you have a story of inspiration, no matter how you cut it. You found success in the animal world. You found success in entertainment. You found success even politically. You have a lot of good stories. Is why I really wanted to have you on. I wish we had more time. Clearly, but the other thing is, I know you lost your boyfriend. I don't remember if he passed, but I wanted you to maybe talk a little bit about your husband if we have enough time.
Okay, my husband that I lost did die. Accidentally shot himself in the zoo.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I married Dylan, who signed a contract with Netflix and ran off with $2.6 million.
Oh.
And left me in prison with nothing.
Oh, fuck him,
So
man.
it took me 3 years to find him and divorce him.
Okay.
And then last November, I got married to George,
Yeah.
Jorge.
Okay.
And, just 2 weeks ago, they deported him to Mexico.
Oh, no.
Shit.
So my goal is to get out and go to Mexico until I can legally bring him back in. And I made a public offer to Trump. I would be happy to sign a contract with America the first $5 million I make, because I'll be able to make it once I get out.
Oh, easily.
I will buy one of his stupid gold cards to bring George back to America.
Is there anything that you would like to share with us and your fans that a lot of people don't know?
First of all, I did not film for Tiger King. They took all of that off of my YouTube and my computers from joeexotictv.com. And they had an agenda when they made Tiger King, and that was to make me look like a fool so they could pass the Big Cat Safety Act. And the only person exempt, the only organization that's exempt from the Big Cat Safety Act is Carol Baskin with the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. So this was a political agenda to monopolize the money on tigers. And you can see as she just sold her property in Florida for $19.5 million. So it worked for her.
Yeah.
Okay. But what Tiger King didn't show was how much I took care of dying sick little kids with Grant Last Wishes, how much I did for the homeless, feeding the homeless, and how many times I opened that zoo for free and cooked dinner for people that didn't have anywhere to go. Mm-hmm. That's who Joe is, okay? And I'm excited to get out of here, make my own documentary, so I can show the world who I really am. The news, and I don't know, if I haven't even seen Tiger King, but somebody made the world think that I abused my animals, and I'm in jail for animal abuse. I have no animal abuse or animal cruelty charges on me, ever. I've never been accused of it by a law enforcement agency. I've never been arrested. I'm in here for the 2 murder for hire charges, which now we know are bogus because they've all admitted to perjury.
Yeah.
And I have 5 taking an endangered species without a permit because I euthanized 5 tigers that they claim I should have got a permit for, which would have took 8 months. And then I've been accused of animal cruelty for making them live 8 months so I could get a permit. And my vet told me to put them down, so I put them down.
Well, man, we have no agenda here, like, at all. This was truly just to get to know you. Truly, that's all this was meant for. So I really hope that you enjoyed the little bit of time we had. Like I said, I really hope that you're willing to come back on in person. We're all the way up in Michigan, man. So you traveled quite some way. We've heard of you up here, so I'm sure I got friends in Kentucky, Texas. I mean, the United States has heard of you, like the whole United States.
We're just going to get Trump to hear you. That's our mission right now. Is we got to get Trump to hear all of y'all say it's time to let me go. Yeah. I don't care if it's a pardon or time served. I can become a millionaire as a felon because he became president as a felon.
Yep.
Ain't that the fucking truth, man? Shit.
Hey, let me take the last 10, 15 seconds to answer that last question that I was on the border, okay?
Yep.
We have 15 million people in this country. We could give them a non-citizen tax card just like Belize does, and we could be collecting $50 a month times 15 million people, and we could get the deficit cleared up in 2 years.
Wow. Well, man, you clearly had a reason in the mind to go into politics, so I'm really excited to see what you do when you're out of there. Hey, and another thing that I noticed, I mean, until the phone cuts off, and then, you know, whatever, it happens, but you walked with a limp. What happened with it? See, because I didn't even watch the whole documentary because I could see that they were setting a bad light on you. So what the hell happened to your leg?
I was taking care of my parents. My mom was in the hospital. My dad fell at home. I was in a hurry. Going down the highway, had a seizure, hit a truck head on,
Oh,
broke
shit.
my neck and my back and the ball off of my right femur, the
Damn.
hip ball. And because I have a blood disease and I have to have blood transfusions every month, they couldn't operate due to the infection. So it healed crooked. So I walked for that reason.
Oh, okay. Well, man, I mean, dude, to go through everything that you went through and to still, I don't know how to word hobble around, but that's not the right word. But to walk around and still take care of all those animals on a bum leg. I mean, there's inspiring shit all throughout your story. So,
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I really do.
yes,
Tell
sir.
everybody out there that I send my love and I appreciate their support. And me and George could use all the help we can get. Okay.
Hey, yes, sir. You have a good, as good a rest of the day as you can have.
Okay, guys. Love you.
Love
Thank you so much.
See you later, Joe. Yeah.
Bye. All right, guys.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna go over our comments because they are blowing up. We have a bunch of viewers on StreamYard. So lots of love from a lot of people.
I know, but that's just wild.
So
Which would you? Oh, Warren, I wish we would have looked at that.
I wasn't gonna ask
Oh,
him that.
I would have asked.
I didn't want him to hang up on us. Okay, that was fantastic. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. I didn't realize it was going to be a shorter episode. I thought maybe we would have a little
I thought
longer.
we'd have an hour, honestly. And our whole stick was that I was trying to get the inspiration out of him, and he just wanted to keep going with what he wanted to go with, which I kind of knew he was going to do that. But he dropped that Carol Baskin. Oh my God.
Thank you, Bethany. I was so excited, dude.
He dropped the Carol Baskin.
Ward said hobble. Chris mentioned that even in Australia, they knew who he was.
No shit.
Yeah. And then
What the-
Hillary said, I'm sure Joe is not pressed about your guys' opinion.
Yeah.
So-
You're probably right.
But that was really fun. I'm really excited to see where we go from here.
Yeah. Hey, but also, like I said, this was a great episode, and it was very fun, and it showed me that we can be something big. But still, tune in next week for our episode Don Ozo geez, I'm at a loss of word because of my calendar. But we have a lot of great episodes coming up. We have one this upcoming Saturday. We have one the following Saturday. We have one Wednesday. All of them are going to start being at 7 p.m. Because of my recent job loss and blah, 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 blah. So from now on, they're going to be at 7 p.m. But now at least we can say that there is a set time for every podcast every day. It will be at 7 p.m. Except if you're Joe Exotic in jail.
Yeah, we also prefer to do this in person. We made an exception because obviously it's not like he can leave prison and come to our house.
Yeah.
So
That would be super cool. But no, it would not be.
we do not harbor criminals.
Yeah. We don't want him to fucking know.
But yeah.
That was cool. Thank you for short notice. I've got more views already on the short notice video than we have so far. So maybe the world will see this. I'll call it a whatever type of episode.
We're just trying to get people to tell their story regardless of what other people think.
And now this publicity will get to see all these other stories that I loved so much to have.
So again, if you're interested on coming on the podcast, we would love to have anybody with any type of story to
This
tell.
was just a great enticer to get people to watch. Now it's back to stories, like real fucking stories. That was a story nonetheless, but wild.
We had
Crazy.
questions about stuff that the media didn't already tell us. So I'm glad that you guys tuned in and you guys have a great night.
Yep. Dude, that was fucking cool. I don't work for the vibe. That's fucking cool. That's fucking tits, man. What the hell?
We had
Dude.